All right, welcome everybody. Episode number 4 of the Dual Dads podcast. We are very, very lucky today. We have our very first guest, Mr. Charles Lopez. Hello, Charles.
Hey everyone.
All right, we are going to be talking about a number of different things. Charles has quite a story to tell. Um, Talking about everything from grieving as a dad to adopting somebody as a dad, to just supporting people so they can become properly educated. He's got quite a story to tell, so I won't steal all of his thunder as we go through this. And Kevin is here as well, just the video is off for now. He is working remotely, so we will not see the video for those of you watching on YouTube.
Hey guys.
Yeah, episode number 4, very first guest. Again, welcome, Charles. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll get into some greater detail later.
Sure. Grew up in Miami, Florida, and born and raised, and traveled a bit for school, and I came back home, and was able to, got hooked it up, found my wife, and traveled a bit, enjoyed our life, and then we, desired having a family, and the journey began. So.
The non-stop journey.
The non-stop journey began.
And as soon as it starts.
Stuff that no one tells us about.
That's right. Which is why we're here.
Which is why we're here. So yeah, and just enjoying life. Now I have a beautiful blessed family. Sam is 5 years. No, Sam is turning 7 in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah is 5. And then I have an adopted son. He's 27.
Right on. And we'll get into some of those details as we go through. So you said you were born and raised in Miami?
Yeah.
And then you've moved around a bit, it sounds like?
I went to school in the Rochester, New York area.
Okay.
And then traveled up to, I toured East Canada.
Okay. Nice.
Ended up to Mississauga and Quebec and came on down to Toronto and kind of hung out, had friends in that area, and then I headed back south once I realized because my parents didn't tell me, but they had already been divorced a few months, and that says well, you gotta stay home. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I do. So
Nice. You enjoyed Canada when you came to visit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's clean.
Yeah.
Toronto, College Street.
Oh yeah.
The food. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, we're a little bit west of Toronto where we are currently, but been there many times.
Good.
Many times, yeah. Did you happen to do anything like the CN Tower or anything while you were there?
Saw the tower. Ate a lot of food.
There you go.
Had a friend.
Great food there.
Yeah. I had a friend from college whose family owned a restaurant on College Street.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
So that we just hung out there.
Nice. Of course you would.
Did you make it to any Blue Jays games or anything?
No. We were definitely college student budget.
Yeah. Big time. They're not cheap.
Yeah. No.
They're not giving them away.
Couches and free food.
Perfect. Save all your money for gas to get home.
That's it.
That's awesome.
But I was there. Yeah.
Good for you. Now you were saying that your situation growing up with your dad was a little bit trying. Can you get into some detail about that?
Yeah, it's both fortunate and unfortunate. Now on this side of the spectrum, kind of being in dad mode, in the progress of being a dad, right? I realized a lot of what my dad was doing or how he was reacting. But he and I really never hit it off. I think, we just always clashed a little bit. He was a carpenter for most of his life. And he just, took to alcohol a lot and allowed that to manage his lifestyle.
Okay.
And towards the end of his life, he had complications with diabetes and whatnot,
Oh wow.
and that happened to take his life through those complications. So, but needless to say, I got an opportunity to be able um, to forgive him,
Oh good.
to really speak to him heart to heart as one that I was already married. He never got to meet my wife, and
Okay.
he didn't get to meet the kids. But at the end of the day, I knew I was an adult enough to understand that I was forgiving him for me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because as even I was talking to him, he didn't realize that he needed to be forgiven or that he did anything
Oh,
wrong.
okay.
He was just being.
He was just doing him.
But yeah, he was just being him. But he, in that sense, was also an orphan, and he also did not have great parenting. So
Okay.
kind of the cycle continues, right, until
Yep.
one of us says enough is enough,
Yep.
and
Yeah. Break the cycle.
right, break the cycle. And this is one of those things. Even here, just being able to talk about it, just being able to share the story with others, hoping that somebody out there needs to hear this and break that cycle too.
Yeah. I know my answer. I'm curious about yours. Having a dad like that, did it teach you more than maybe you ever thought it could, especially about being a dad?
Yeah, I mean, it taught me. I think it also prepared me to be what I do now as an HR manager for a manufacturing company, where even my team members, they're my operators, but each one of them is doing the same thing that my dad is doing. My dad was doing.
Oh.
They're an operator,
Mm-hmm.
and they're saving up money for their kids to go to college, to maybe hopefully be in an office setting in an AC,
Okay. Yeah.
and
That's
get paid well, and
Yeah.
provide for their families, and their kids can go to college as well, and whatnot. So I understand that that's what my dad was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't let me go into the military, which is something I really wanted to do.
Oh, interesting.
He said, no, you're not fit. He's like, okay.
just
But
right to the point.
yeah, he's definitely military. So he was he was hardcore military. So he knew I where my strengths lied,
There
and
you go.
and geared me that way. So,
Right.
but each one of my team members, my colleagues here, they're doing the same thing for their families.
Mm-hmm.
So I empathize. I understand that, and that ironically is what keeps me in the manufacturing environment, because each one of these individuals here are potentially, each one of them remind me of my dad.
Interesting.
And so even to that extent of you know seeing people's behavior, observing. I observed my dad a lot, especially every time he would come home, and what face did he have? Did he have the drinking face? Did he have the angry face? Did he have the tired face?
Yeah.
And observing that and saying, okay, this is how I'm going to react,
Right.
and behave around him, so either I can get something I need from him besides money for ice cream or whatever,
Right.
but even just acceptance or approval,
Yep.
And so you kind of learn how to adapt to these behaviors. And so, yeah, all of that triggers into life, right? All of that um, coping skills, all those coping skills come into play.
Mm-hmm.
And then we react to those in the real world. So,
Yep.
yeah, it definitely taught me a lot about even being a dad. Every day is different.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Every day is a new adventure.
Mm-hmm.
How we react to certain things. Like the other day, my daughter fell off the bike and she scraped herself really, really bad. And this was the first time I heard her crying. That cry, like the cry,
Okay.
the cry.
The bad one. The
Yeah, the
bad
bad
one.
one.
The
Yeah,
pain.
yeah, the pain, the horror, and the blood. and I ran. My
No,
wife saw me.
it's not good to see.
No, and my wife said she saw me running, and it was a hill. It was a little hill, and she
Mm-hmm.
said I pranced like a deer. She was hoping I didn't fall, and I'm like, yeah, I remember hitting that hill because I was hoping I didn't fall either. But I was running. I ran so far, and she happened to be feeding some goats, and she fell backwards, and she was bleeding. It was all in her
Oh,
mouth,
oh.
and I was calling out for first aid at my friend's house,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really bad. Just look at her and see that scary face.
Yeah, right.
And I realized that was my first time I had to react that way. But I
The
analyzed
sheer,
my yeah, I analyzed my behavior thereafter and said, "Whoa, that was new.
Right.
Okay, so that's how I react in emergencies with
that
my
panic
daughter."
sets in when it's your kid, hey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of that came into play as like, okay, there was calm about this. My dad was calm in emergencies. He
Mm.
just took it easy. So there was a lot of things that I was analyzing my behavior thereafter and saying, okay,
Do
emergencies
you,
are cool.
I have a question here. Do you think that you wanted to join the military to try and get closer to your dad, or was that a personal goal?
My dad, yes, yes, and yes.
Yes
So
and
my
yes.
yes, my dad was very patriotic, and we like July 4th, Independence Day is
Mm-hmm.
next to Christmas.
Oh
You
wow,
know,
Okay.
yeah.
so it is a big deal for us.
Mm-hmm.
So even so, like currently my son is a Marine,
Right.
and it's a big deal. And I have flags
Yeah.
everywhere. Like, it's just a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
But
proud, hey? You can tell in your voice you're just proud.
Yeah.
yeah,
You can.
and I guess to some, yes, I wanted to that have that affinity within that the something that binded us,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something you
because
guys share together.
yeah,
Yeah.
because even then, like, just being blood unfortunately wasn't good enough,
Right.
you know. So
Mm-hmm.
and we're all seeking, we all want dad's approval,
We do.
Yep.
We
you
do.
Every
know.
one of us. No
It's
matter
just
what
like,
age you are either.
Nope.
no matter what age. And so
That's
dad's very important. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted that, man. I think I think towards the end, even like this, we just celebrated Father's Day,
Yep.
and I posted something on Facebook. It's like, now I know what you were going through. Like, I wish he
Mm.
was alive right now because I'm just so much wiser,
Right.
and I know that I was, what he was thinking about, what he was what he was working towards. I
Mm.
can understand so much more. I just wish I
understand his stress is better.
100%. I can even
Yeah.
understand why he went to drinking.
Yeah.
I can understand, a coping mechanism. I don't agree with it,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, I can understand. I can
Right.
empathize. And then I just wish he was here so we can have those conversations, and even maybe even had helped him along the way. But my younger years, I was a brat, man. I was just,
Uh,
I was the kid that knew more than my dad.
yeah.
Well, thought he knew more than
Well,
my dad.
thought. Yeah. And we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop telling me
But
what to do. I know. I know
yeah.
more. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't realize how much you are looking for dad's approval until you're now dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My son now, he just looks up at me, and
Mm-hmm.
he wants to go fishing. He can't wait for me to come home. Yeah, just everything. We talk about everything. He's only 7.
Yep.
He's ready to sell his, like, when we're teaching him how to, like, take care of his toys and maintain value so he can resell it when he's done with the toy.
Good for you.
And he's doing that. Like, he's selling on eBay, he's selling on Amazon, he's selling on
Really?
Facebook Marketplace, and he's 7. You
Good for
know,
him.
and so with that, he gets his other toy that he wants. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, because now I'm created an entrepreneur. Maybe he can start paying my bills.
There you
Exactly.
go. Retired
See, I
dad
don't
down the
have to
road.
work here so often.
That's the way. That's the way to do it, right there.
That's right.
you
That's
know
right.
and then but he looks up, and it's the world. He looks at me like the world depends on me.
Mm-hmm.
um providing and just guiding him. It's not even financially, and it's emotional, it's acceptance, it's approval, it's wisdom, it's sitting down and explaining the why,
Right.
to things, and not just the what.
Yeah.
It's getting down to eye level and talking,
Mhm.
and being his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was laying in bed with my 10-year-old last night. And she says, "Dad, I like talking to you because your answers are easy to understand."
There you
Yeah,
go.
I was like, "Well, that's that's good to hear." It's like, "You're easy to talk to, and I like that." I was like, "Well,
yeah,
you're easy to talk to as well."
yeah. Like if my son was my 7 year, if he was really like 18 already,
Hmm.
we'd be drinking together.
Right?
There you go.
We'd have a stogie together right now.
Yeah, you
Like,
guys are buddies, eh?
yeah, like
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
already buddies, and in a respectful way, right?
Hmm.
Because he loves me so much, and I feed him that emotional acceptance that,
Hmm.
he just knows like what would upset dad,
Uh,
and he like does his chores and does everything. He's really a really good kid. Kids will still be kids and
of course.
whatever, right?
Right.
But for the most part, he is just so respectful because he looks at me and says, "Yes, daddy. Yes, sir."
Oh wow. Good for you.
And I'm like,
Nice.
I got a yes, sir. Ooh, I'm doing something
Yeah,
right.
it did. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, that's cool.
Um,
That's cool.
and it's
And
give and take, It's like it's
mhm,
work on. I'm not a big fisher, but he loves fishing.
good for you.
So I'm out there YouTubing how to fish, and we're
You're
going to the
learning
lake.
as he's learning.
Yeah, and he just
Yeah.
loves it, and I gotta give in.
Yep. Yeah,
Like I
we-
give
But he
my
wants to
20,
spend time with you, right? It's
yeah,
something you
yeah.
want to do as well.
yeah.
Well, we are avid fishermen, so if you guys make your way up this way, we'll take you fishing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Take you into the
Yeah,
mountains.
Yeah.
and that'd be nice. We went
Oh.
Yeah.
ocean fishing, 3 weeks ago.
Hmm.
He loved it.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
different type of fishing, but
It
That's
is.
different fishing,
I
yeah.
mean, I was with a friend of mine, and I was just holding the tackle box. I'm like, okay, all yours. I don't know what I'm
I
doing.
don't know what I'm here for, but here I go.
He said, we catch a fish. What are we gonna do? We're in the
Yeah.
beach. I'm more logistical. So I'm like, how am I
Yeah.
gonna do this right now? I,
What do I do when I get the fish?
yeah.
That's wicked.
But even
Yeah.
my 27-year-old, and that's the thing, age is not age. It doesn't stop with age.
Mm.
My 27-year-old is into fitness, and I'm not super into fitness,
Hmm.
but if he says,
You
"Dad, I
go.
want to go, I'm gonna go run 5 miles," I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll join you one." Like I'll do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. That means
I
a
got
lot.
it. Why? Because that's that bonding time. Like it's still stretching, so
Hmm.
stretching. And if you told me the person I am today, I wouldn't even imagine myself
Right.
both in my personhood and who I am and how I think. Just being a dad has made me grow so much.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And it kind of makes it where you have to grow. Like if you don't grow, you're in trouble
yeah,
in a lot of
yeah. I mean,
ways.
every year I ask myself the same thing on my birthday. Am I the same person that I was last year?
Mm,
If
good
I
one.
am, there's an issue.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
You
No
know,
personal growth there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the kids see that.
Oh,
Yeah.
big time, yeah.
The kids
Yeah.
see that. The kids see that dad was into personal growth. Well, so am I.
Hmm.
And even asking for an apology. Like, say if I one day, whatever, I just screamed at them maybe the wrong way, and they look at you like, okay, now that fearful eye, and I just suck it up and say, you know what, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm
I've
sorry. My bad.
I'm
I've
human.
done that as well. You
Yeah.
apologize, like, I'm sorry for my outburst earlier.
Yeah,
There's no excuse for it.
Yeah.
no excuse for it. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Daddy's getting better every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Actually, that leads another question I just thought of, Charles. Are you listening to any books or podcasts, or how are you improving as a person?
Yeah, I mean, it's a loaded question
It is.
because for me, it's about where do I want to go, where do I see myself, and with the season of life I'm in now,
Yep.
I would say preface to say before I was a dad, I listened to a lot of you know kind of podcasts like this, like, you
Mhm.
know, how can I be a better dad? I was researching,
Right.
because I knew I had a void to fill, with my dad being somewhat absent. So I prepped myself, and I did my homework, my internal homework, and that by means of podcasts, by means of books, you know, Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, Strong Dad, Strong Fathers, Strong Sons is a really good book. I mean, I follow, you know, there's a lot of, you know, faith-based principles that I follow with, you know, T.D. Jakes and
Mhm.
some others, um, and now I follow some more of the on the other side where, not that I've obviously have mastered dadhood. I don't think anybody has,
Nobody can.
but where am I going next? And for me,
Mhm.
is like, well, the vision for my life, the vision for my family, what's
Mhm.
our vision board look like? So I follow someone like Ed Millett,
Oh
who's,
yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
Jocko. You know, you
Mhm.
gotta get some Jocko in there, and, you know, tell you the truth and tell you how it
Yeah.
is, and stuff like that. Like really a
Mhm.
motivational, inspirational. You know, what's his name?
Gary
Gary
V.
V. You
Yep.
know, people
Yeah.
like that that just, you know, just tell you the truth, tell you how it is, and then filter it, you know, with some personal, you know, spiritual formation and
Mhm.
you know, meditation. You know, I've come up to meditation this year, so I'm kind of learning
Okay.
that. But it's
How's that
really,
going?
it's different
Yeah.
because it's brought me. I'm self-diagnosed ADHD,
Mhm.
self-diagnosed,
Yeah.
because
Me too.
I know I have symptoms,
Yep.
and I just haven't gone to the doctor yet.
Yeah.
But
Squirrel.
my wife agrees that I should. So yeah, I mean, I
Mhm.
know stuff like that like really helps me stay at peace,
Mhm.
be calm. At work, I do a lot of strategic initiatives, and I need some alone time, and I need
Mhm.
to concentrate. So the music, the meditation, the breathing, exercising. I hired a trainer. You know, get out there. So 3 times a week, I get my butt kicked,
There you
and
go.
get that dopamine in, and so that really other evils or other vices don't come in.
Right.
You
Good for you.
know, so a lot of a control group.
Mhm.
You know, really, I have my friends that I surround myself with that just says, so you're either exercising, you're going to church, or you know, you're doing some type of meditation, you're at
Mhm.
home. So really, yes, in a narrow environment, but I'm driven to go somewhere, and in order
Good
to
for you.
do that, I can't be distracted.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
There's a lot of distractions nowadays,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And for
yeah,
having the ADHD, I think we all have it. And you just walk by
Yeah.
like, oh shit, there's something on TV. I'll
yeah,
just tune in here real quick. What's
yeah.
my phone about?
It's and
Yeah.
so
Oh, and then
easy.
it's all of a sudden an hour later.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I'm an
Doesn't.
Amazon guy, so I think about,
Oh yeah.
ooh, I'm going to the beach. I need beach chairs.
Right.
Click, you know, or and like 5 hours researching and reviewing beach chairs. You know,
I I don't know which one is the best one here. Hold on a second. Let me find
it's a true
out.
story.
That's experience talking. Is that one? That's awesome. That's awesome. Actually, and the reason I ask is because our last episode we were talking about personal development. So, and I think I forgot to mention that to you. So the fact that you brought it up just kind of influences our way of thinking that dads need to improve us. We need,
Yeah,
and it's up to us to do it. And who you listen to, who you surround yourself with, is going to make that difference.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
would you? And this is a little bit of speculation the way I can ask this, but do you think the meditation and all that kind of stuff would be a good indicator that that would be a reason you didn't become an alcoholic?
so I mean, you know, you know, very transparently, I think I've played around with the vice. You
Okay.
know,
Yep.
where we, you know, post college and you're having
Hmm.
fun. I'm from Miami, we party, you know, and we're Hispanic. Yeah, I'm Hispanic if you can't tell, you know. So like
Yeah.
we definitely love our food, we love our drink, and
Yep.
we like our music,
Hmm.
you know, and it's just it was culturally accepted, what's culturally, socially accepted is what we do on the weekend. So when I moved from Miami and now I'm in the Raleigh area, Raleigh, North Carolina, it's kind of subdued. There's not a lot to do. Things close around 9 o'clock, and we're used to going out at 9 o'clock. So,
Okay.
so
That's a big change.
yeah, big change, but it was purposeful, and
Yeah.
it was on purpose as well. You know,
Mhm.
a lot happened there with my wife being corporate in Wells Fargo, and you know, for the sake of family, we moved up here, and so now she gets to stay home with the kids, and homeschool,
Good for you.
and we we've had to adapt. But a
Mhm.
lot of that is even here. It's like, okay, we bought the house, we're relaxing, and then it's like, okay, well, even last night, you know, had the wine, had a cigar, relaxing, but okay, just 1 or 2 cups,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because I know that, you know, I always say this, I eat pretty healthy, but I drink pretty bad,
Okay.
you know. So, you know,
That's good awareness.
and if I want to come to work in the morning, I
Yeah.
know and really not feel like crap,
Hmm.
give my 100%. I can't be at home even or wherever I'm at and have 4 drinks of, you know, Irish whiskey.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I can handle it, but it's probably not good for me.
I
Fair
had
enough.
5 Guinnesses last night. I slept in a little bit this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are old enough to get their own breakfast though.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I can't get away with that. Not that I
So,
drink, but I can't get
so
away with that with a 20-month
yeah.
old.
So this self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
you
Oh
know,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
keeps me at bay at least, and kind of says, you know, I you know, probably like Father's Day, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they bought a bottle of tequila and we hung out. It's, you know, special days now. It's not the everyday.
There you
Uh,
go.
and birthday, of course, you know, you're like, all right, well, he's gonna have one too many. Make sure he's taken care of and he eats, you know, and you know, special days, right?
Yeah.
Every other day, the Monday to Sunday on regular non-holidays, besides July 4th, because that's another holiday, patriotic holiday.
That's a given.
You know, there's just gonna be some days that I will be taken care of.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, drinking is always an interesting thing. I would like to move on to a different topic if I could.
Sure.
Now, Charles, this part might be a little bit tough for you to talk about, so please feel free to share only what you feel comfortable sharing. You said you have 2 biological children and 1 adopt child. And based off our conversation, it sounds like you've had 2 other scenarios where you could have had kids that didn't end up going well.
Yeah, you know, years of after we got married, maybe about 6 years into marriage, we
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, you know, we've had enough fun. Let's settle down and let's start, you know, planning some kids. And we struggled a little bit, but when we finally had our first, we're so happy. And you know, the first kid syndrome, and everything needs to be new, and everything, the room, and this and that, and just yeah. And then my wife was working, and she just she hadn't felt the baby move, and it was probably at 32 weeks.
Oh,
And
wow.
so she's like, you know what, let me rest, let me you know, she Googled things to do to make the baby,
Oh,
and put ice on her belly, took an ice bath, I mean, so many things.
yeah.
And then she's like, you know, let me just call the doctor, and the doctor told her to immediately come in. We were filling out baby shower invites at the waiting room,
Oh, get out.
and
Oh, wow.
when we get into the sonogram, and the person that helping us was you know, kind of blamed it on the machine. Said, oh, you know, the machine's probably wrong, and we called the doctor, and by that time we had a gut feeling of what was happening. And again, you know, the doctor was not a regular doctor, but he came in and kind of just verified that, you know, we had lost a heartbeat. And
Geez.
so that was very painful at the moment, as it should be.
Yeah.
And, you know, my first reaction was to be there for her
Right.
and carry her through this pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because now at 32 weeks, it wasn't just a DNC. It was, we had the option of C-section or full birth.
Oh,
And
wow.
natural birth. And so the doctor encouraged us to do natural birth because he's like, you don't want the scar of this, a physical scar.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so, you know, we called our family, we called our church family, and we, you know, we had a moment of prayer at church and just kind of let that go. But, and then really trying to get the courage to go through this next cycle of whatever's to come, because we're new to this and what's going to happen.
Right.
And so we finally get admitted to the hospital, and we were blessed. We are blessed with so many friends and family that came. Literally over 175 people were in the lobby.
Oh,
and
wow.
Just really like praying for us and just, you know, making us laugh. Just you know, just kind of, you know, music. There was music. There was food. There were drinks. You know, there's just, you know, just kind of things to get the mind at ease, and really. And there was one thing that we did that helped us, and when my wife and I were in the car, we had a real hard discussion, a heart to heart, as to how we would accept this. Is this still a death, or is this still life? And we chose to celebrate life. So what that meant for us was, we're going to take pictures. We're going to hold the baby. We're going to not forget.
Wow.
You know, there was a birth certificate and a death certificate.
Oh, wow.
You know, there was and it was okay. Like, this is okay. This is how we want to process it in our hearts. You know, so because we also had to do talk to either discuss a plot of land, or were we going to cremate. And even those, just the idea of talking about that at the hospital, and then going to a cemetery and having that discussion, just is unreal. It really is unfathomable that you're having both life and death discussions in the same week.
That's messed up.
And so, as we chose life, we chose to cremate and celebrate life. So, you know, the whole, and just really, it was expensive. You know, it really is. So so kind of the easier route was that. But to be honest with you, it was, if it wasn't for the faith, family, and friends, and just coming around and really pushing us through, we we wouldn't have made it. We held the baby, we took pictures, we we had a moment where we kind of just like movie like, we're like, here, God, just here's this. And I said a one-liner which kind of haunts me to today, because you'll hear what happened. I said, God, I'll be a father to the fatherless. And then like 6 months later, I get this kid in my office at work, and he was homeless. He's about to graduate.
Wow.
And his parents don't want anything to do with him. And I end up bringing him to the house. I had to resign my position there because it's conflict of interest. And that's how I ended up in HR. And it's a transferable skill set, but I ended up adopting a kid. So
good for you.
It
just to be clear, what did you have to quit? Because I don't think we talked about that.
Oh, my position as a school administrator.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
You were an educator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I could see the conflict then. Yeah.
So it was definitely some challenging moments at that time, but when you're open, and think about it, we were open to loving a son.
Mm-hmm.
Our love tank was ready.
Yeah.
we
You were ready.
we were ready to love on a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And just having that open mind and open heart, that really helped us show, kind of divert that love that we were given to David Alexander to now our adopted kid.
Right.
And he needed so much love. I mean, rejection from parents, that's hard to get around.
I'm sure.
That's,
Yeah.
I don't understand how somebody can do that to a kid.
So I mean, if he hadn't gone through some of those challenges, he wouldn't be the kid he is today, or the young adult he is today either.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
all these, life challenges brings us to a place where we are who we are because of it, right?
And he's probably meant to help somebody who's going to be going through the same challenge because he's already gone through it.
Right.
Yeah.
And
he may even adopt.
Right, and he's learned through it. He's grown through it, and
Mm-hmm.
and he's definitely appreciative. He surprised us last year with a letter that said he was going to change his last name. So
Oh, that's awesome.
so he's in the process of doing that, and
Yeah.
that's a big honor. So
No kidding. And so you had the one child, David Alexander, you said you named him?
David Alexander. And then we, right after that, we did have that young adult with us, and then we kept on trying to, obviously have a biological kid again, and we did. We were again very, successful again.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it was a 3-month miscarriage.
Mm.
And so another difficult moment where we had to. That one was a DNC, and just pushing and pushing my wife through that and being with her at the moment. And I think, as we talk about the dad component, we're very strong in that moment for the wife. But in both experiences, I realized there was deficit in dad resources, in resources for grief, in resources that talked frankly and truthfully about what it means to lose a child, especially someone who's has all this love to give and is ready to be a dad, and so that's one of the things that we had a business in Miami, and I had a support group there, and I would encourage other dads to come. And it's very hard because dads and guys, as guys, we tend to not be so vulnerable to our emotions, especially when of loss, and we tend to put that on the back burner. And I was like that for a little bit until I was encouraged to go to specifically a grief counseling. And my wife and I did that, and that gave us so much confidence in using a loss and using it for positive, and moving forward in the memory of, or doing things that we remember our children by, So the words like legacy, words like inheritance, words like, what is the vision for this family moving forward, and even questions like, well, what if you don't have kids? Do you have other neighboring kids? What if, after IVF that's not successful? What if, all these what ifs, and kind of coming down to the heart of the matter is, will you love regardless? Will you love somebody else's kid? And will you showcase love? If you never really become that parent that you so desired, can you adopt someone?
That's got to be tough. Like, I understand what you're saying. I've thought about that myself, where if we weren't successful in having kids, could I adopt and still love the same way? And I honestly don't know the answer to that. So good for you for doing it.
It's definitely challenging, but as you guys heard me talk about my Marine son earlier, I wouldn't know any different. Even as a young adult to, pretty much a 27-year-old, I don't know how to love him any different than I love my little ones. Only that my 27-year-old has different needs than my little kids,
Sure.
you know, and that's about it. But
Good for you.
that love, I'm surprised that I can love the way I love a 27-year-old who's not biologically mine, but
Mm-hmm.
he's 100% mine.
He's 100% your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because even people outside, if they'll say, "Oh yeah, he looks like you," I'm like, "He looks like you." Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'll take that. Or
Thank
you
you.
don't look that old to have a 27-year-old. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. He's
True.
fine.
True.
So
Well, that leads to more questions.
stuff like that led me, when there was lack of resources, it made me realize that there needed to be a resource. And so one of the things I started was a Facebook page called Dads Grieve Too. And it's very specific in the sense that, you know, resources out there are really only for the women. You know,
Right.
women, and we know that, we understand that. They're so much more emotional, so much vulnerable. We get it. But what about the guy? What about the dad who was hoping, you know, to go fishing and take the kids fishing, or you know, started a savings account for college, or you know, I can't wait to give him my car, the Mustang, or work on a car with him or her, whatever. So we make up these dreams and desires for our kids, even when you know, the moment the wife says, "I'm pregnant,"
Right.
and we're like, okay, after the sticker shock.
Yeah. I couldn't speak for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, okay.
What? Wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah. I always like, it works.
My boys can swim.
So I'm like, all right, well, I guess, and then you start daydreaming a little bit.
You do.
You know, it's like, what does this look like? And I might need a bigger house because it's only a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. Or, you know, we start imagining and preparing the home as providers that we are, and then all of a sudden it's cut off.
Yeah.
And how, you know, as men, how do we respond to that? And there's no resource, and it's really just an absent idea.
It is
that the dad has created, has a vision for his family, and it's cut off. And what is that resource? Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
It has to be tough for you, because not only are you trying to console your wife, but you're trying to figure out your emotions as well as you're going. But there's
100%.
nowhere for you to go, right?
100%. And I think, you know, I did as much as I could and kept it together for, I think, maybe for a year, and then we were pregnant again when then you start doing the cycle, and then that gets cut off. And you know, I knew that I needed professional help, in the sense where the grief counselors, you know, I think it was a 12-week session once a week, and those exercises that she made us do together as a family, and kind of brought us out of the hole and into thinking about the future and hope, and then we can think again and we can dream again.
Wow.
And yeah, it did take some time, it takes some courage, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, anyone can say that hurt too much, I'm gonna stop here.
Yeah.
You know, but I knew that I knew I wanted to be a dad. You know, but and my current kids, and if I was going to be a dad, whether it was adopted or not, I knew that I had to deal with this baggage of hurt and pain, because I didn't want to bring that, you know, to the table for my real kids, my biological kids.
Right.
Would be prepared for the new ones if you had all this
that's
baggage.
not their fault.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And like resentment, it'd be like, oh, right, it's not fair.
Right.
So good for you for realizing and getting help.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't talk about that, right? So and just choosing ways to celebrate life, I think, is paramount. You know, because even now, like, my kids know who David Alexander and Susan Alejandra are. You
Okay.
know, we
Right.
celebrate their birthdays. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
maybe not in,
Sure.
big
Yeah, you're not
way.
having a party.
Yeah, we're gonna have a party, but we'll cut a cake or we'll make some
Yeah.
cupcakes. You know, we'll release some balloons or something.
Sweet.
You know, we'll
Celebrate with life.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good
You
for
know,
you.
they existed in our family. They're
Mhm.
not a vague memory that the parents hold secret of. No,
Right.
this is a real thing in the Lopez family, and they are part of the family, even though they're not here with us.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Now, just well, my brain's on it now. Dad's Grief 2 is a Facebook group, you said?
It is a Facebook page, Facebook group. You know, it's in the starting phases for real. You know, because it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to get dads to say yes. Um, I'm at a loss. Help,
Mhm.
someone help.
Mhm.
You know, right now, while we right before this session, I logged into Facebook real quick, and then some guy in one of those dads group had lost a kid. You know, and he was kind of having a drink to toast that. And man, I'm the first one to reach out and say, brother, you
Mhm.
know, please, if you ever need to talk, DM me. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just so adamant about we cannot do life alone.
No, absolutely.
Not just in a scenario like that, but even post, you know, life and during you know, while we're being dads, you know, this is a good resource. What you guys are doing, you know, because that we all need each other. To think
Yeah.
that we all have the answers is unfathomable. We don't. We need
No, you got no clue until you figure it out, right?
right. And then and something you said could encourage me and influence me to do something positive and something great.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Now, is this an open group, a private group?
No, it's an open group. It's an
Open
open.
group?
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
open group. Just being available and being a resource. And not that I know any better,
But
but
it's all about being through it together.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock arms with you and we're gonna do this
Mhm.
together
Yeah.
and have a good support group
There you go.
and you know, just talk about the challenges that come, you
Mhm.
know, when you wake up at 4 a.m. crying, you don't even know why.
Right.
You know that you can have someone to reach out to because
That's awesome.
you can't reach out to your wife because she just went to sleep crying at 3 a.m.
Right.
You know, because she's
Yeah.
in pain herself.
Cool.
You know, so who do you reach out to? And
Exactly.
so you gotta get a brotherhood, if you will,
Mhm.
that's just available at the 2 a.m. mark, the 4 a.m. mark,
Mhm.
and just says, I'm here, I'll talk.
There you go.
That's
If,
it.
yeah, if nothing else, just to listen.
Just to
That's
listen.
awesome.
Yeah. So if you're okay with it, we'll put a description or we'll put a link in the description or in the show notes, depending on how you're getting this. And people can just go right onto Facebook and join the group if they feel like they need the support.
That'd be great. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for doing
Yeah,
that.
it's a good way to reach out, and especially from somebody. And now we know Charles' story. I mean, you've gone through some stuff, man, frick, and some stuff that people don't even wish upon anybody,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, we'll definitely put that description or the link in the description in the show notes,
Yeah.
and hopefully anybody who's grieving, guys, dads, if you need the help, reach out. Reach out. Like Charles said, there's no reason to think you're in this by yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Reach out. There is one more. We are coming to the end here. There is one more topic I did want to talk about. I definitely want to have you on as another guest here. A guest again here, Charles. We got a lot to talk about. I think it's really good information. But I want to talk about WonderDads. Can you go into a little bit of detail on what WonderDads is?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna be their spokesperson, but I'll be a client. You know, WonderDads is WonderDads.com. I have it on my other screen here. It's really a resource, and I found it to be useful. You get some weekly emails, especially during this time of being quarantined or being inside the house. You know, you get emails as to what to do. You know, the fun things that you could do at the house and excuse me and whatnot. So I've used it as a resource to kind of get myself out of my comfort zone. You know, things that I didn't know I could do, or things that you know would be great for my kids at their ages. and what they're looking for at that age, and what can develop them or how, increase their developmental skills in this area, this area. So they have it really broken down. So I use it. I use it a lot. I have the app and kind of just really go in there, and you know, I'm a good reader. I like to study. So I'm not an outdoorsman. And like we talked about fishing, I'm not a real fisher. So WonderDad really pushes that button where it says, yeah, I know you can be in the office, but your kids really need to experience the outdoors and have fun time with dad and create memories with dad, and you know, take some certain pictures or certain moments that create memories. And so someone like me benefits from that kind of resource. You know, reading this first statistics, it says 91% of dad kids bonding happens between ages 0 to 18. So, you know, this is like important to bond with your kid. And I don't, you know, because of maybe the way I was raised or even my personality, I need some help in that area. So I'm gonna use a resource. You know?
Sure,
it's there, you might as well use it.
Yeah.
Don't be too proud to use it.
No, and the kids are worth it, you know. So so I'm an advocate, I'm a client, and it's very there's just so much information, so much resource there that I encourage anyone who has some time to just log into WonderDads.com.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put that link in our description as well. I didn't even know it existed until you pointed it out, so this is why I'm glad you brought it up, because I don't know. I'm assuming there's somebody else who does it either. Well,
I mean, the thing I was looking for, to be honest, my heart is to be the best dad possible. I think a lot of dads are out there saying, I want to be the best dad possible. And just, you know, everything else comes in the way and in of learning how to be a better dad. But my wife says I get to be intentional, and I've learned to be intentional. And so I'm intentionally trying to be a better dad. And so I'm going to read the book. I'm going to check my heart. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to do things that are so not me. But the things that my kids will love me for later on. And I'm going to be so happy that they've had these experiences, because I didn't.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. Well, it's a really, really good place to wrap up. Kev, was there any questions that you wanted to throw at Charles before we wrap up here?
Did you do anything fun for Father's Day?
Oh, yes.
I did. I'm trying to remember because we started Friday.
Weekend out of it.
Yeah. So Friday we just hung out. We had, you know, Hispanic party at the house. And then Saturday they prepared a special lunch, special dinner. We went to a friend's house. We hung out, great time, and on Sunday we just hung out. But they cooked. Okay. They cooked some really good ribs. My oldest, he's trying to make it happen, and so he barbecued some ribs, really nice, and chicken, potato salad, baked beans. And just like from scratch.
We are on our way.
Yeah, and this was from scratch, and it was so good. And then some Hispanic dessert there that my wife just made it, and so reminded us of Miami really hard. So
you got spoiled then. Hey, you got spoiled. Good for you.
Yeah, I got spoiled, and then it's funny because the gifts they purchased these gifts on Amazon, which is on my account.
Oh yeah.
So I knew what I was getting. And it was like, oh, so you want me? So they gave me a full car wash kit with the vacuums and everything from a nice car wash. You know, like that soap that smells really nice.
Yeah.
Homer and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like, oh, so what you're trying to say is you want me to keep your cars? Oh, okay. Yeah.
First thing I thought of.
Yeah, we'll bring you a present, but we're gonna put you to work too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like giving the mom, pots and pans for Mother's
Right.
Day.
I got
Yeah, exactly.
Here, I bought a new mop. Here, I thought you'd love this.
Yeah,
I kept,
right.
I kept hinting. So when is my real gift coming?
Oh,
Good
awesome.
That's awesome. Right on. Well, Charles, it was definitely a pleasure having you on this podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, our
My
very
pleasure.
first guest, and I gotta say, you set the standard high. Yeah, the bar's like up here now, so
Yeah.
we gotta try and bring on people who are gonna match that standard. So,
Yeah, you seem like a great dad with a big heart and a good personality. So thank you very much.
absolutely,
My
absolutely.
pleasure. It's great connecting with you guys. I hope it's not the last time.
Oh, I want to have you back on, man.
Nice. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Again, if you want to be a guest, feel free to reach out. I'll put those links in the description as well for not only the Facebook group, the Dads Grieve 2, but also WonderDads.com. And if you want to find a way to get in touch with Charles, if you need some help, please just reach out to us, and we'll connect you that way. So thank you for watching or listening to the Dual Dads podcast. Thank you again, Charles, for joining, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.